Let me take you to the western edge of Kyoto, far from the temples and cherry blossoms, to a place the locals whisper about, but rarely name aloud after dark. A tunnel choked in ivy, short, crooked, silent. But it's not the length that unsettles you. It's what happens when you drive through. They say the Kiyotaki Tunnel is cursed, haunted by vengeful spirits, born from blood-soaked labor. And at night, it's not just your reflection in the rearview mirror anymore. They say the tunnel itself changes length depending on your sins, that those who lie, cheat, or carry guilt may never reach the other side. Let's rewind. Kyoto, the ancient capital of Japan, beautiful, peaceful, sacred. But just outside the city, hidden between the forested hills of Sagano, there's a narrow road that winds through steep ridges and bamboo groves. It's quiet until it's not. Until you feel like something's watching you. And there it is, Kiyotaki Tunnel. Just over 444 feet long, a number associated with death in Japanese numerology, shaped like a mouth opened midstream. No lights, no signs, just silence. The air gets cold as you approach it, even in summer. The tunnel was completed in 1927 during the Showa era to connect Arashiyama to Kiyotaki village. But few people know this. It wasn't just a construction project. It was a graveyard in the making. It was built using forced labor, slaves, and prisoners of war, some say even political dissenters. They were beaten, starved, and buried alive inside the walls when they collapsed during diggings. Their bodies were never recovered. According to oral histories collected by local temples, over 30 deaths were never formally recorded. Ever since then, strange things began to happen. Let's talk about the most famous sighting. A taxi driver, late one rainy night in 1995, picked up a woman wearing a white kimono, standing silently just outside the tunnel. She gave him an address back in Kyoto City, but halfway through the ride, he glanced into the rearview mirror and saw nothing. The seat was soaked, but empty. When he returned to the same spot the next night, curious, skeptical, he crashed his car. Lost control for no reason. He later told police, "I wasn't alone in the tunnel. There were faces in the rearview mirror, dozens of them." The official report marked it as fatigue. But the local shrine priest knew better. He left salt and sake at the tunnel the next morning. Kiyotaki Tunnel plays tricks on your mind. People report seeing faces pressed against the glass, shadows walking alongside their moving car, reflections in mirrors that don't match reality. Some drivers look into their mirrors and see themselves hanging from the ceiling of their car. Yes, hanging. Because many suicides have occurred inside the tunnel. And more disturbingly, some people report being compelled to do so after driving through it. A Kyoto University study in 2004 quietly noted that this specific stretch of road saw an unusually high number of single-vehicle accidents at night. At the far end of the tunnel, there's a small, abandoned shrine tucked in the trees. Locals say it was built to appease the angry spirits of the workers. For years, monks visited weekly to offer prayers. But one year in 1976, the shrine was forgotten. There was a lightning storm that month, and that summer, 4 people died near the tunnel entrance. One body was found hanging from the vines. Another one was found in a locked car, with the doors melted shut from the inside. Police records exist, but no official explanation was ever given. The shrine has since crumbled, but some say you can still see footprints in the moss, bare and headed into the tunnel, never out. Here's the strangest part. Some people swear the tunnel's length changes. In 1988, a pair of journalists attempted to film a segment on it for a local Kyoto TV station. They brought measuring tools. On the first pass, the tunnel measured 444 feet. On the second pass, minutes later, it measured 476 feet. They reviewed their footage. Nothing made sense. In the video, the tape extended longer than the walls allowed. They abandoned the episode. One of them quit journalism. The other went missing in 1992, but his body was found later. Guess where? That's right, inside the Kiyotaki Tunnel. His cam recorder was missing, only his tripod remained, pointing at the tunnel wall. Japan's belief in yurei or ghosts isn't just superstition. Spirits with unfinished business, especially those who die in violent or unjust ways, are said to linger in our world. Yurei often wear white, that is the symbolic of funerals, have long black hair, and lack feet, just like the figure seen near Kiyotaki. What makes this tunnel particularly feared is the mix of multiple triggers: death through forced labor, no proper burial, suicides, and forgotten shrines. It's said to be a perfect storm for yurei activity. In 2013, a Reddit user from Australia documented his trip to Kyoto with friends. They visited the tunnel after hearing about it from a hostel manager. They drove through once. Nothing happened. But when they reviewed their photos later that night, in every shot inside the tunnel there was a shadowy figure with no eyes, hovering just above the back seat. None of them had noticed it. The user deleted his account days later, but the photos were briefly archived, and yes, several users confirmed the figure. Was it a hoax? Maybe. But those who have driven through that tunnel will tell you it doesn't feel fake when you're inside. They say if you drive through Kiyotaki Tunnel and stop midway, roll down your window, turn off your engine, and whisper your name 3 times, you'll hear another name whispered back, not yours, and that name is the last one to die in that tunnel. So if you ever visit Kyoto, stick to the temples, walk the bamboo forest, sip matcha and ride the rickshaws. But if you hear a voice calling you down a winding road, if the winds shift cold and the trees fall silent, do not enter the tunnel. Because once the tunnel knows your name, you may never leave.